Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to tell you about a book that will make you question everything you think you know about human nature, civilization, and whether you'd survive a zombie apocalypse. Except, the zombies are actually just regular people who can't see. Stick around because this story gets wild. Picture sitting in traffic, minding your own business, waiting for that light to turn green when suddenly, boom, your world goes completely white. Not black like you'd expect from blindness, but a milky white sea of nothingness. That's exactly what happens to our first victim in this unnamed city.
So it begins.
Now here's where it gets interesting. A good Samaritan, and I use that term very loosely, helps this poor guy get home. But plot twist. This helpful stranger decides, you know what? Since you can't see anymore, I'll just take your car. Thanks. Classic move, right? Well, karma comes knocking because guess what? The car thief goes blind too. The blind man goes to see a doctor about his mysterious condition. The doctor is absolutely baffled. He's never seen anything like this white blindness before. So naturally he goes home to research it further and bam, he goes blind too. Meanwhile, there's this woman, let's call her the girl with dark glasses, who's a sex worker. She visits the doctor and then goes to meet a client. In the middle of their encounter, she suddenly goes blind. Talk about bad timing. So the authorities, being the brilliant problem solvers they are, decide the best solution is to quarantine everyone in a mental asylum. Because, nothing says medical care like locking people up in an abandoned psychiatric facility, right? They separate the blind from those who've been exposed, creating this, lovely little prison system.
Well, you look at that.
All right, so here's our main crew. The doctor, his wife, who's pretending to be blind to stay with her husband, but can actually see perfectly fine. The girl with dark glasses, a boy with a squint, the car thief, and an old man with an eye patch. They're the first batch of inmates in this, delightful establishment. The authorities give them this cheerful welcome message. Don't try to escape or we'll shoot you, do your own laundry, bury your own dead, and food will be dropped off whenever we feel like it. Have a great stay. Now, the doctor's wife is in this impossible position. She can see everything that's happening but can't reveal it because she's terrified of what might happen if people knew. So she watches helplessly as things deteriorate rapidly. The car thief, remember him? Apparently didn't learn his lesson about bad behavior. He tries to grope the girl with dark glasses, and she responds by stamping him with her heel. He dies from his wounds, and honestly, it's hard to feel too sorry for him. As more people arrive, the place becomes absolutely disgusting. No running water, overflowing toilets, and people are basically living in their own filth. The same drivers who used to complain about traffic are now complaining about being treated poorly in their lovely asylum accommodations. But wait, it gets worse. Some enterprising inmates smuggle in weapons and decide to become the local warlords. They take control of the food distribution and demand payment in valuables. And when people run out of valuables, they make an even more horrific demand. They want the women from each ward to pay for food through sexual services.
Oh, it's bad. It's real.
These 20 thugs manage to control over 300 people through sheer organization and brutality. It's like the worst possible version of supply and demand economics. But our secret-seeing protagonist has had enough. During one of these forced encounters, she kills the leader of the gang, and their power structure collapses. Finally, some justice. Except, plot twist number 2. By this time, literally everyone in the city has gone blind. The soldiers guarding them, blind. The food producers, blind. Everyone. The food shortage isn't because of the dead leader. It's because there's just no one left to make or deliver food. Then, one frustrated woman decides to burn the whole place down. The fire spreads quickly, kills several inmates, but also sets the rest free. They stumble out into a city that's, completely fallen apart. Our group of 7, the original 6 plus the old man with the eye patch and the boy with the squint, venture into this post-apocalyptic world. The doctor's wife finally reveals that she can see, becoming their guide through this nightmare.
This is exactly what I've been waiting for. This is exactly
So they try to return to their homes, but surprise, strangers have moved in. Folks who couldn't find their way home just claimed the nearest available space. The city is filled with corpses, starving dogs fighting over dead bodies. And honestly, the stench is so overwhelming that windows have to stay closed. The only relief comes when it rains, letting people clean themselves and collect drinking water. This incredible, disturbing, and absolutely brilliant story is Blindness by José Saramago, published in 1997 and translated by Giovanni Pontiero. And folks, this is just the tip of the iceberg. Saramago, who won the Nobel Prize in Literature in 1998, wasn't just writing a horror story about blindness. This is a profound examination of human nature, political systems, and social structures. It's essentially Lord of the Flies for adults, but even more brutal in its honesty about what we're capable of. The book asks some pretty fundamental questions, like, what makes someone choose to do good or evil? Does our conscience really matter if no one can see our actions? And just how quickly can civilization collapse when the systems we depend on break down? What struck me most is how Saramago shows that descending into chaos is much easier than building or maintaining order. All it takes is the breakdown of leadership, laws, and awareness, things that, honestly, are much easier to lose than to develop. The political commentary is just brilliant. When discussing communal living and resource sharing, Saramago writes,
"The concentration of food supplies into a single entity for apportioning and distribution had its positive aspects. After all, however much certain idealists might protest that they would have preferred to go on struggling for life by their own means, even if their stubbornness meant going hungry."
He also critiques competition and its bias against the weak.
There were blind inmates lying up against the walls, those who on arrival had been unsuccessful in finding a bed, either because in the assault they had lagged behind, or because they lacked the strength to contest a bed and win their battle.
The message is clear. Cooperation, not competition, is what saves us in crisis. One of the most fascinating aspects is how Saramago handles moral complexity. Take the character of the girl with dark glasses. She's a sex worker, but Saramago refuses to let us simply label her as a prostitute. He writes,
"This woman could be classed as a prostitute, but the complexity in the web of social relationships, whether by day or night, vertical or horizontal, of the period here described, cautions us to avoid a tendency to make hasty and definitive judgments. Without any doubt, this woman goes to bed with men in exchange for money, a fact that might allow us to classify her without further consideration as a prostitute. But since it is also true that she only goes with a man when she feels like it, and with whom she wants, we cannot dismiss the possibility that such a factual difference must, as a precaution, determine her exclusion from the club as a whole."
This is about agency and choice. She's not defined by society's labels, but by her own decisions and autonomy. The experimental style is absolutely crucial to the experience. There are no quotation marks, minimal punctuation, and no proper names. Everyone is identified by their characteristics. The sentences flow like rivers, sometimes for pages at a time. It's disorienting at first, but it really puts you in the mindset of the characters struggling to navigate their new reality. The narrator shifts between omniscient storytelling and philosophical commentary, sometimes addressing the reader directly. It's like having a wise, slightly cynical guide walking you through this nightmare, explaining the deeper meanings as you go.
There is like a deeper flavored meat happening here.
Blindness is ultimately about relationships, how we connect with others, how power operates, how we make decisions under pressure. It's scatological not for shock value, but to show us who we really are when everything we think makes us civilized is stripped away. This book will disturb you, challenge you, and probably change how you think about human nature and society. It's not an easy read, but it's absolutely essential. If you haven't read it yet, you really should. Saramago gives us a mirror that reflects our darkest possibilities, but also our capacity for love, loyalty, and survival. In the end, the bonds formed between our characters, bonds that would never have existed without the crisis, represent the purest form of human connection. That's it for today's review. Let me know in the comments if you've read Blindness and what you thought of it. And if you enjoyed this deep dive into one of literature's most challenging works, don't forget to like and subscribe for more book reviews. Hey, thanks so much for hanging out with me today. If you're interested in diving deeper into this book, I've left some links down in the description. You can use it to grab yourself a copy and keep the adventure going. And if you're in the mood for more great reads, don't go just yet. Click on one of the videos popping up right now that I think you'll love. And don't forget to give this review a like, leave a comment, or even subscribe if you'd like to see more. Every bit of support helps us grow this little community of book lovers. See you in the next one.